What's up, YouTube? It's Tito here, and this is one of my late night talks with Tito. And this is one of the perks of being inside of this camper is that I will actually have light when I do these late night talks now. And there's nobody in the camper beside me, so I have space between me and other people. So I'm not waking anyone up at night when I have like these crazy thoughts at like 2 in the morning or something like that. And so then I could record and not worry about waking someone up. So I just watched this YouTube video that this one guy had put on his profile, and it was like a title something like psychedelics and higher consciousness or something like that. And he's the type of person that he's into like the spiritual side of things and all that stuff. But I wouldn't think that he would promote or I don't know, even think that psychedelics would be a healthy option. And I will put a little disclaimer real quick on the fact that I try to remain unbiased on some of these topics. But I grew up in a Christian family home all my life, and pretty conservative, strict family. And as I got older, I just went looking for myself. Like most people do, I feel like. At this point, it's really my relationship with God and my journey, and I am seeking truth and understanding for myself through that, not being told by anyone else or just through, certain avenues in the Bible and things like that, which I know has been manipulated and all that stuff. And again, we're not going to go into that right now in this video, but I do still hold truths from that religion or that belief. I somewhat still label myself as a Christian, but I've been told I can't be a Christian with certain ways that I think. So I just rather not label myself. Like I said before, I don't really like labels anyway. But yeah. So that's kind of my disclaimer. I still hold certain truths to different beliefs, and that could make me a bit biased on certain things. But I also like to keep myself guarded with things. I don't accept everything as it is. I don't think anyone should. I think you should take what you want and leave the rest. And understand it and figure it out for yourself and that type of a thing. So yeah, that's like where I'm at. So I just wanted to tell you that. That's so that you can understand my thinking through these videos and whatnot like that. And like I said, my bias to a certain degree, because we all will have that, even if we try to be non-biased on a lot of things. So yeah, so I watched this video. I just woke up. This is my first day in the camper. And I woke up a little while ago. I had something to eat, and so I watched this video. And it was, well, I didn't watch the whole thing. I just watched like half of it. Because then he started getting into like some other kind of stuff. And I don't really have good Wi-Fi where I'm at right now. So yeah, the first part was like saying how all of the ancestors in every culture have used psychedelics before. And he was just going through all this different stuff. And it started making me think about what I had talked about on my main channel with why can't I think right now? Extraterrestrial life. Jeez. Yeah, so when I talked about it on my main channel, I said I think it's more of a spiritual thing, and they're spiritual entities, and we call them aliens. I say extraterrestrial because aliens is such like a mainstream term, and you have this certain image of that. Extraterrestrially means it's something outside of this world, this earthly realm, which in my opinion would be the spiritual side of things. It's other dimensions, worlds, or whatever. And so when he was talking about this, and he was showing a lot of like ancient Egypt and Maya and all these different cultures in the past, and that they were depicting a lot of the psychedelic drugs or hallucinogenic. It was all natural because you had to get it from the ground, but how they all use these things, these plants, and to some degree to tap into the spiritual side of things. They also have it depicted in their like pottery and pictures and all kind of stuff like that too. And he was kind of hitting on. He said something about the ancient aliens. People would have loved this one carving, but he said that the carving wasn't like alien rays or whatever. It was actually like basically like a grinder for the herbs and stuff like that. So then it was like, so those aliens that are depicted in a lot of the ancient carvings and drawings in the caves and stuff, could they not be like the aliens that we think, but they're just the spiritual beings that these people had tapped into when they were on these drugs? And then he was saying that he was pulling some parts of the Bible out and saying that these certain people could have been, and it's thought that they were on some type of a hallucinogenic when they heard the different spirits speaking to them or seeing things happen like the burning bush and different things like that. So he's going through different religions saying that. And then he said, and this is what made me want to do the videos, because he said, and you can see a lot of times there's like a serpent that is depicted. And, you know, of course we know with the Bible, there's a serpent. You know, there's always like a serpent. You see it a lot in like Egypt and things like that. Which is kind of, it's like really interesting when you really think about it. But anyway, so yeah, he was saying that, and he was showing this one carving of a serpent, and he said how people see I don't know if he said like angelic type of a serpent, or he used some other kind of word with the serpent, just not of this world type of a serpent. A lot of people who use these hallucinogenics see some type of a serpent that's, you know, done up in certain ways. You know, it's not a regular serpent that, like a snake that you would see here on Earth. It floats, or it glows, or it has like, I don't know, but it's different. And he said a lot of times that's why you see depicted, because people see a serpent through their experience. And I was just watching the other day this one guy, you know, when you get suggested videos, I clicked on his video, and he had some good videos. And then, but he's like really into psychedelic drugs. And he was saying, he was explaining his trip on, I can't remember the word of it. It's like somewhat becoming popular with the kids that do like acid and LSD and all that stuff. But it's what the Native Americans, if I'm not mistaken, use. And there's also like, they made it into religion so that they could practice it in like Washington or Oregon or somewhere like that, I think. Starts with the A, if I'm not mistaken. But basically he went to Central America or South America with like a shaman into the woods, and they passed around whatever this plant is that sends you on a trip, and it's supposed to be like a spiritual thing. And he said when he was describing it and everything, he was saying that when he entered into this, when he left and went into the spiritual side of things, the spiritual world, I guess, there was a serpent, or a few serpent type of floating, glowing things that, you know, was in the area he was in, the space he was in, or something like that. They was floating around, and then, I don't know, he said like they entered his body or something like that. I don't know. But I just remember him saying that, so I thought that was really interesting, that people who trip on psychedelics see the same thing. And so that shows you that you do enter like a spirit world when you do those drugs. And then I was thinking about like the Bible in the drugs, and how with Adam and Eve, how it's said in the Bible, and what people normally will think of when they think of that, is that Eve gave Adam fruit, I believe. I can't remember word for word. I have a Bible in my van, and I can't really get on the internet right now. I could look it up on my phone, but yeah, let me do that real quick. Hold on. Okay, so I found it. Genesis 3:6. It says, And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, that rhymes, she took of the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. So I bring this up because, first of all, like the serpent told her to eat the tree or take from the tree or whatever, it's good. So thinking on the psychedelic side of things or whatever and how people see serpents, but I guess she would have had to have psychedelics before to receive this from the serpent, this information from the serpent. But I don't know. And everybody depicts an apple or something as the fruit, but what if the fruit is really like how it's used in a lot of other parts of the Bible where it says the fruit of your labor, you can judge a tree by the fruit, so like your actions and what comes of is really the fruit. I don't know. I don't know if I'm explaining this correctly the way I was thinking in my head. If you can follow along or if you understand what I'm saying, let me know below and kind of give me your input on it. But basically, from what I was seeing was like maybe it was some type of psychedelic plant or something. If you believe the Bible or any truth in it or something along those lines or whatever, then what if it was like a psychedelic plant that Eve partaked in, and she also gave to Adam, and then they got high and trippy, and that's when their third eye was open. And let's see, because then it says in verse 7, it says, "And the eyes of them both were open, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves apron." So yeah, I mean, that's like something to think about. I don't know. It was just different, something that I never thought about before, but from seeing and hearing that other people see serpents when they're trippy, and it says that their eyes were open, and it was going to make them wise. And if you go to the spiritual realm, you would think that you've tapped into something deeper and that you understand other things, and some people continuously do it to understand things. And obviously different ones give you different trips and stuff like that. I don't know anything about that, but yeah, I mean, something to think about. Like I just said, I don't know anything about it because I've never done like LSD or DMT or shrooms or any of that crazy chemical stuff. I've definitely smoked the herb, but other than that, I've never done anything crazy or popped any of those pills or anything like that. Because I think that's a whole lot. In the stories I've heard, and I've watched YouTube videos of people tripping out on like DMT and stuff like that. That was pretty crazy. And I don't know if I don't know if you are supposed to whatever that is, if you're if it's a good thing. Again, here we go. And this is my biased opinion, if we're supposed to tap into that side using those drugs inexperiencedly, I don't know. But a lot of younger people do those drugs, and they're not doing it for a spiritual thing. If you're with a shaman and you're out in the woods and like it's a religious practice, I can understand that. But just to be like tripping out at a music festival, whatever, like you're just trying to catch a high. But yeah, anyway, let me know what you think about this topic below. Maybe some of you have tried some stuff and had your own experience, or had friends who've done it, or done a little research on your own. And the reason why I brought up the Bible, like I said, because I grew up with that belief system. So, of course, that's like, you're taught that that tree or that plant or whatever it was that Eve partaked in and gave to Adam was the reasoning behind the fact that we are all separated from God now, and living in sin and all of this stuff. And that the serpent means evil and or bad, and that type of a thing. So when I hear these things on this stuff, this information that I find, it's interesting that, you have your bias on things, and like I was just saying, like, is it good or bad to partake in those things? If you believe the Bible and stuff, I feel like you would say it's more bad, because if you look back at the beginning, it's saying that the serpent basically tricked Eve into partaking in whatever this was. And I feel like that's why you have a lot of extreme religious people who don't like drugs, because maybe they think what I was just explaining, that it taps into the spiritual side of things, and that's why we are in the position we're in, etc., etc. Okay, this video is already too long, so I'm just going to end it here, and I got some editing to do, and then I'm just going to go back to sleep. So yeah, hope you're all doing good. Like I said, leave me something down in the comments below, your take on this. What do you think about what I said, even if you have no experience with any of this or whatnot. Yeah, hope you all are doing good, and I will see you in the next video.